Hi, I'm Nate and you're watching Photolearningism. So you want to make a music-based video to go on YouTube or whatnot, but you want to get that audio visualization aspect of it and don't know how to do it? Well, you've come to the right place. Let's take a look at Kdenlive and how we can solve that problem together. So once again, I'm Nate, this is Photolearningism. Thank you so much for joining in. I do a lot of work on this channel to surface the cheap or free art technology so that you can know about it and make good use of it. Thank you so much for being here. So just to kind of break the ice on this, I talked about how to do audio aspects, audio editing and work in Kdenlive a bunch of videos back. We're looking at the audio workspace. Go check that out over there, card coming up, and see what you can learn about how the audio filters and controls work. There's a lot built into Kdenlive, and really the motivation behind using this fantastic open source tool, Kdenlive, is that it's free, it's powerful, and it's under community rapid development. So there's always new stuff coming out, always new improvements, and it's well worth looking into if you're curious to what's out there for both your video and audio editing needs. This is a great way to start and get your feet wet with the concepts. All right, so jumping into the workspace, I pre-built out a project here to kind of help demonstrate what's going on, and right now we are looking at the audio portion. You may see something like this if you start out, where it's kind of a blank effects stack. So we'll kick it off from that portion. I have an audio file in here, by the way, and Kdenlive is also very friendly to most audio formats. I don't really see much in the way of working between the old legacy waves to MP3s. This is an M4A, which is really, when you get right down to it, it was a recording actually from my iPhone, straight using the voice recorder. That's the format it uses, M4A. So it's very format friendly, even for video, and that's just kind of what this file is to start. This was just a recording of me playing my guitar, just so you can kind of get the basis of what you can do with the audio aspects. So to look at how to visualize this, and visualization is where you take the audio waveform and you make it visual, you make it something that is on screen, and that could be very valuable if you're trying to do an audio-only presentation on YouTube. You do need to have some kind of image or typically something on the video front, and this is a way to solve that, and you can do a couple different tweaks with this, and I'll show you what you can do here. It's really cool. All right, so starting off with the audio waveform, I want to explain that in order to get this to work, you have to understand that there are two different stacks at play, effect stacks, all right? I'll kind of couple the audio and the video effect stacks as one. So that's one portion of where most effects go. That's what we're looking at here. When I click on something and I'm in this view, that's one stack. What I learned about recently is that for audio, there's a hidden one called the master stack. All right, and the only way to get to it is going into the audio mixer view here, and there's this tiny button that looks like a remote that says Open Effects Stack. This is specific just to the master. It's kind of the final mix of all the audio. It requires a little bit of pre-processing, and that happens before it hits the master mix. And so it's in the master effects stack that you put this effect. So I'm going to go into the effects here. This is something I've covered before. I'm going to put a card up, wow, that's hard to do backwards, over in this area, and you can kind of watch how the effects work. Go check out that video for Kdenlive to get a good feel for how that goes. But there's this category specifically here called On Master, and this is what this is for. This is the only one really that fits into that category, the audio spectrum filter. So you would drag that right into this view once you've exposed that, and work on that. Again, from the audio mixer, what you would do is click the remote button without hitting the playback and jump into this view, and you could drag it in here. So this is what it looks like after you've clicked and dragged it in. You do have a good degree of control over what this is going to do. You can change the color that it actually is. This is the color picker. You could modify this really to any value, hex, or working with the other RGB or other value systems you may be working with. So it's very friendly to what you might like to do there. It does have to be one primary color. It does not support gradients at this time, so there is that, but it's still really, really cool as to what you can do with it. You can pick a background color if you wish. Transparent is actually really cool because the background is by default black, and that's a good start unless you want to throw some color on there just to complement the color you pick for the audio waveform. Another good thing to do is to keep it transparent, and if you're promoting a certain track or album that has artwork, I'm going to flip on what I've done here, you could do that behind the audio waveform. And I'll play this for a minute so you can kind of see what this looks like as it is. So I'm going to pause there. Now, you have some options. It starts out as a line, and this one isn't as visually interesting because it will only pop up when there is a frequency to interpret. As you can see here, you don't really get that line across, which could be a little more useful in that you're already telling your audience, in a sense, it's this liminal suggestion that there's something coming there. This is a little more open-ended, not quite as useful, I found, but it's there. I prefer to use the second option here, the bar one, because you get that option of the spread across. To make it more detailed, you do have to adjust the points down here, because the fewer points, the less frequencies it will cover in the view of things. You could do that, again, if you want to focus in on specific frequencies. Perhaps it is a piece of music that only covers more in the bass or in the mid-range or in the treble, and you could use this theoretically to focus in on that. That in conjunction with the actual frequency range. You can control where the frequency, and these are in the kilohertz, by the way, the frequency range of what you want to cover. All right, between lows and highs. The overall threshold. Window size, I read this description. I don't really see what this does, so I'll fill you in if I do. That didn't really make a difference to me. This part up here was really useful as well, in that the thickness will change the overall thickness of the sound wave that you're doing. You can make it really, really subtle. I like to kind of see it a little beefier because I want to see it if I'm going to put it up there. That's good. This was also really useful in that you can see with my artwork how I have my face up there. So the line kind of starts off for the most part when you're using the mirror one, which is the one I like. If you take that off, it tends to park it either right at the bottom of the screen. I'll put this down to 0 so you can see just peeking up at the bottom there. That's where it kind of goes. I like this mirror idea because that just puts it in the middle or near enough, and that's where I want it. I want it obvious that this is a waveform visualization. This Y offset, that's the vertical. If you're not familiar with X and Y, X goes on the horizontal, Y goes on the vertical. That you can actually make some good adjustments to move that. I didn't want that right across the middle of my face, so I actually have some control using the Y, click and drag with the left mouse button here to move that to a more less invasive spot, depending on what I want, to come through on my artwork. So it's a little less awkward for my face. All right. You could do the angle a little bit if you wanted to do something with that. That's an option to you, although for the most part, it could be artistic if used properly. Most of them you see is generally a horizontal plane, so it's there if you want to. Also, I will point that there is a keyframe timeline here. I have to be honest, I think this is only going to apply down to things down in this area here, and that's of limited use. You cannot keyframe things like the positioning of the bar or the overall size of the screen. You can change them, but the keyframes only pertain to what comes below the timeline in this case. I know this because I played around with it and tried it. So you could potentially keyframe the points or the frequency. I couldn't really see good use cases for that because if I'm going to show a form, I want the full range of what I'm doing. I don't really know that you'd want to dance around the range so much unless the form is just so subtle depending on the kind of sound it is that you feel the need to kind of zero in on certain parts by frequency. But yeah, the option's there in case you're curious to explore it. I did a little playing around. Those were my findings. All right. So that really is the big premise of how this fits together. And when you export it, you will have that audio visualization right on top, and you have a video to play your audio. And that, again, comes into value with things like YouTube, where you have to have at least a video element to put it up. It can't be just purely an audio file. They don't let you do that. So that solves the problem. And if you want to demonstrate your instrumental, your musical prowess, this is how you can do it, and demonstrate it visually so that you can get it up on high availability video sharing platforms like YouTube. And there you go. Problem solved, right? I know this was short, but I think it's meaningful and something I may use myself because I've been curious how to do it, and now we know. Once again, I'm Nate. This is Photolearningism. Thank you for spending just a couple minutes with me learning this new technique and learning a bit more about Kdenlive. If you haven't already downloaded it, go try it out. You lose nothing. It's free, it's open source, and it's run by a fantastic community of developers that keep up with this with very frequent releases. It's worth your time to go try it out. Give me a thumbs up if this was useful, because I'm always curious to find out what resonates with you. Also, if you haven't subscribed, do that too, just to keep up with the fantastic things we're going to be doing in the future. If you missed the opportunity from last video, go watch that. It was a review on FlexClip Video Editor, offering some powerful options for your video content creator needs. And you have a chance to win 3 months of the business package. All you have to do is leave a comment with your Instagram username, just so I can get it in touch with you in case you're one of the randomly selected folks. I'm not looking to spam you. I'm just looking for a way to find you. That's all. So don't miss out on that opportunity. We're going to be picking those names soon. And leave a comment. Ask a question. Join the community of like-minded creators and learners just so we can share our experiences and make each other stronger. Thank you so much. I will see you at the next video.